Hi there, welcome to another video from the Vickers MG Collection and Research Association. This time it's another of our Mannequin series where we just have a closer look at some of the uniforms and equipment that would have been worn by Vickers machine gunners across its service life. And this time we're going to be looking at the Italy summer 1944 period when my grandfather was serving with the 7th Battalion of the Cheshire Regiment, Anzio in Italy, just south of Rome, and then eventually into sort of the capture of Rome as well. And I'm going to look at sort of a stylised version of the equipment he'd have been wearing. So largely khaki drill material once you get out of the winter, and then the bleached webbing equipment, very clean in this case, but bleached from the sunlight, salt water that they'd have been fighting through in the Mediterranean. So without further ado, we'll have a quick look at the mannequin here and see what we can talk about. As always, let's start at the top. And we've got the Mark II steel helmet. Yeah, this one's quite poor condition, but it was given to us. You can see it's had quite a dent there as well, or been dropped. But it was given to us a few years ago, and it's been kept in the condition that it's in. So you've got a round pad in the middle actually, rather than the star pad. So I think I can't remember what mark that makes this. Maybe it's just a standard Mark II, but it's a nice Tommy helmet all the same. Yeah, came actually quite locally to us here in Swindon, Wiltshire. Somebody gave that to us at an event that we were doing many years ago, which is awesome. We love it when that sort of stuff happens. As I said in the introduction, we've got khaki drill jacket, and it is the jacket, 4-pocket jacket there, and we've got khaki drill trousers as well. This is set up, let's say, as a machine gunner, but you're carrying a Thompson submachine gun, as my grandfather did. So I used this equipment at an event when we were portraying 7th Battalion of the Cheshire Regiment, and there were quite a few of us doing so. The periods, let's say that early to mid 1944 period, from spring to summer, and so you would have actually had a mix of battle dress trousers, blouses, and khaki drill material. You know, there really was a mix. Some of the war diary excerpts do sort of talk about, you know, and now they switch to khaki drill, which allows us to date photographs a little bit easier. But clearly, you know, this stuff wasn't drawn back in. Sometimes it was, but I imagine they kept sort of quite good stocks of it. You've had a good look at the webbing there. So 1937 pattern web equipment, two basic pouches on the front there, made to carry 2 brain gun magazines or a bandolier, 2 grenades. And in these, what have we got? We've got Thompson 20 round magazines. You've got the 20 round magazine that you can see on the Thompson is pretty much exclusively what the British used with the M1928A1 Thompson. Nothing really. This is set up in the British style with the foregrip there. Clearly that was used with the United States stuff as well, but the difference being that the sling is adapted to fit onto the top of the buttstock there, and then on the other side you have the sling fitted to the side of the pistol grip, rather than I can't remember where it fits on the pistol grip now. I think it fits on the side anyway, but rather than the sling on the bottom of the buttstock. And this, you can see where that would have been in there. So that's the way the British set them up to use. That's the way that it was set up to use with this mannequin. As I said as well, this is bleached webbing, so you can really see how it changes, how different materials bleach differently. So this was done in sunlight and salt water. And it's brought out say different shades of the original material before it was dyed, so pre-dyed before manufacture with a khaki dye, and then it would have been blancoed or perhaps dyed as well. So it's quite interesting to see how that turns out. And as we move down the mannequin, let's say there's khaki drill trousers without the mat pocket on the front, but it does have the first field dressing pocket on the side there. And then your anklets, 1937 pattern anklets, bleached in the same way, and the standard hobnail boots. And I've just realised this is where the pair that fits me really well is, but you can see that the toe cap of this one's been dented quite badly. I can't remember what it was I dropped, but it was something quite heavy. So yeah, this say this is that, let's say, stylized look again as always. These are reproduction khaki drill material, khaki drill uniforms, because with many of the items of equipment we use these, and we use them quite heavily. Carrying a Vickers machine gun around would have been something quite, it does take it out of the uniforms and equipment that we wear. I haven't really talked about how much this relates to the machine gunner. So this is, as I know, my grandfather was wearing from his descriptions previously for quite a period in 1944. He was armed with the Thompson submachine gun. He was an orderly, so he was a platoon orderly for a period, as well as being a trained Vickers machine gunner. He used the Thompson. He therefore had basic pouches as a result of that. But we have kept a bayonet frog on this set of equipment, because sometimes we display it with the short magazine Lee Enfield rifle and a nice long Lee Enfield bayonet as a result. So let's turn the mannequin around and see what we've got on the back. So you can see the back of the helmet there, and then we've got small pack, belt, braces, water bottle in its cradle, and just the back of the boots and anklets and back of the trousers. So the key points here that we've got are, small pack. I'm sure people will recognise all that. You've got this different shading in the bleaching process as well. But then on top of that, we've got a gas cape. You see the gas capes being used at this period as waterproof capes quite nicely. It's rolled up there on the top. It is a reproduction, but it is a good reproduction. Linseed oil in there as well. And what he's carrying is actually a US issue shovel. The machine gun battalions didn't generally carry their entrenching tools because they're moving on vehicles. They don't need to carry the small British Army entrenching tool, the two-part arrangement. But what we have seen in some photos of Anzio, particularly where they're working alongside the Americans, is the American shovel being used. So it's something we've got in the collection. We've just decided to put it on this mannequin because it's a conversation starter and allows us to talk about those things. The standard 1937 pattern Webb equipment water bottle in its cradle there, and let's say the bleached bayonet frog and everything. So we've got sleeves rolled down on this, on the jacket there, different photos, different arrangements, but it is quite nice to be able to have something that gives us an opportunity to talk about a different theatre than Northwest Europe. And I'm sure you realise by now that the mannequins that we've got are really conversation starters. They enable us to talk about the Vickers in different environments. The Vickers in Italy was being used as a divisional machine gun battalion weapon, which meant it was used alongside the 4.2-inch mortar in some cases, but 50th actually had their infantry brigade heavy mortar companies. So the battalions, the machine gun battalions, were purely machine guns for a while. They were divisional support battalions as well. Now some changed, some didn't, but the divisional support battalion brought in light anti-aircraft into that mix as well. So 20mm anti-aircraft. It was something that wasn't used in Northwest Europe, so people aren't as familiar with it, but it was used in Italy and in the Mediterranean. So they had these 3 brigade support groups, each made up of machine gun platoons, heavy mortar platoon, and some 20mm light anti-aircraft. Really interesting sort of mix there, putting all of the infantry heavy weapons together. Italy also saw the use of trucks for longer, partly due to supply reasons, in that carriers, universal carriers, were being stockpiled, or not stockpiled, but being prioritised for UK troops for the invasion of Northwest Europe, and so they used 1500 weight trucks for that little bit longer. But there's some differences in how they were using the Vickers. There were many battalions as well in the 78th Div we're aware of, and and some of the Indian divisions where they had machine gun platoons in the infantry battalions. And my grandfather actually transferred over to the King's Shropshire Light Infantry in 1st British Div. And it's possible that they had formed, well, we know they had formed a medium machine gun platoon. We don't know whether he was transferred across from the 7th Battalion Cheshires to go into the medium machine gun platoon or not. And sadly, he's no longer with us to be able to answer that question. But he certainly was very fond of the Vickers, as I've talked about before. It's quite possible that he kept the Vickers kept in service with the Vickers in the King's Shropshire Light Infantry rather than just as a normal infantryman. it's an interesting period of the war that he didn't talk about actually when he went across to King's Shropshire Light Infantry for the rest of the war. He only stayed with machine guns with a machine gun battalion for about 12 months. But anyway, so this is, as I said, of a mannequin of that period of spring to summer 1944. I hope that's been of interest for you. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. Please support us on Patreon if you're able to, and let us know of anything you'd like to see in the future. I look forward to hearing from you.